Off the Grid and its gun token is one of the most highly anticipated projects of 2024. In this video, I'm going to go over everything I know about the project. I'm dedicating this video to making sure that we have the information early before the project drops. We're going to talk about three major things. One is the gameplay and the marketing behind the project. Two is the team and also the VCs that are behind this project. You'll be surprised who's backing this project. And then three is the guns platform and then also the gun token. And then finally, I'm just going to wrap it up with my thoughts on when and where I think the guns token is going to drop. Before we get started, remember that none of this is investment advice. The crypto market is extremely risky and volatile, so make sure you do your own due diligence and research before you get into any project. And then I'm not also sponsored by any project. Off the Grid doesn't even know that I'm alive, so I'm just giving you my thoughts of where I think this project is going. So before we get started into the project, let's talk about what's important right now and why we should align ourselves with this project. Well, right now, BTC has already hit 44,000. It continues to climb, and with the ETF approval that's coming up, I think it's going to go up even more. There's also macro events that are going to help within the new year, just like the Fed's cutting rate next year, and then also with the BTC halving as well. But in crypto, the narrative is extremely important. What's the important narrative right now? Well, it's Web3 gamings. It's the ABAC subnet. And then, of course, I understand that there's a whole meme season that's happening right now, but it's going to turn around to the Web3 gaming. Now, before we jump into this project, remind ourselves of the previous one that launched. So a very similar project that launched was SHRAPNEL. So I talked about SHRAPNEL. It's a first-person shooter game, right? It's going to be coming to the market. Right now, the current market cap is trading at 78 million. And at its height, it got all the way up to 43 cents from an all-time low of 7 cents, right? So SHRAPNEL did a 6x upon those numbers. So I expect this project kind of like SHRAPNEL. So if you look at SHRAP right over here, look at sort of right at the beginning when it launched, it rocketed up right over here. So with that gaming narrative, let's talk about Off the Grid and why it's important to take a closer look at this project. So first off, the gameplay. Off the Grid is a 150-player PvP Battle Royale style game, which is built on Unreal Engine 5 by a AAA team. Now, if you take a look at the footage of Off the Grid right over here, you could see that even though the game is in its alpha testing phase right now, the gameplay footage, the graphics, the mechanics behind the game, it looks pretty darn good.
Map is so big. It's even bigger than the Apex Legends.
They also launched a massive marketing campaign by allowing Dr. Disrespect, along with some of the other big streamers, play and test out the game. So looking at their footage and them playing the game, it actually looks like they really enjoy that game. And the footage looks pretty good out of alpha, like I said. So far in terms of development, I think that this game is well on its way. And they did talk about releasing this game early next year along with the token and the project as well. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to take a look at some of the gameplay footage, let's talk about the game a little bit more. So if you go onto their website right over here, you could see, this is what I talked about. It's a PvP 150-player Battle Royale melee game, okay? It's also a PvE as well, where there is a 60-hour really immersive narrative campaign that you can take a part of. And if you go down, you could see that they already have 6 or I think there's 5 different maps. That's right. So there's 5 different maps that you can take a look at. So those 5 are live and they're already testing, playing it as well. And then there are 7 more maps to come. The other thing is if you look within the gameplay, it's really cool because it's like a cyberpunk themed battle royale game. So you have a lot of these cyber limbs. And then in terms of weapons, there's actually over 300 combinations of weapons that you can actually combine within the game. So on first glance, I do think that this game is going to do well. The graphics are good, mechanics are good, and it's a battle royale genre that many millions and millions of people already enjoy and are familiar with. The other thing about this game is that it's developed on Unreal Engine 5, which means that the graphics are going to be good. It's also available on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC as well. So you can see they're very focused on the Web 2 gamers. So right now, if you take a look at their website right over here, you can see that on this website, as good as it looks, you know, there's nothing on here almost about Web 3 or their guns token. I think that they've done this on purpose in terms of their marketing strategy, is that they do not want to alienate the Web 2 players, or, you know, the gamers are very upset about Web 3s, NFTs, and everything else. Even though what they want to do is that they want you to try the game first and then eventually they give you an option. So they market this as being optional so that this way, again, it doesn't alienate the Web 2 and the Web 2 gamers, right? So if you go all the way down here and you take a look at the bottom in terms of the FAQ, you can see right over here, it talks about what is off the grid. It goes over all of the different things about the storyline. And then in terms of, is this game an NFT? So if I scroll down right over here, it says Off the Grid is not an NFT game. So they're very clear about that. It's a battle royale game with an optional NFT element. And I think that this is where sort of the marketing strategy comes in, which I think is a good thing. To be honest, people are turned off from games the minute they hear about NFTs, but it's actually just blockchain technology that allows ownership of digital assets. So I think that this is a very, very good strategy of how they're approaching it. If you actually take a look at their other website right over here, so you'll see that this is a whole other website where they talk about their Guns platform, the Guns blockchain, along with the Gun token, which we're going to get into. But from a pure marketing standpoint, I think that that's actually a really good move in order to separate the two crowds, but they are going to coalesce together once they play the game and they find out that the game is good and there's an optional element. So people are not forced to take on blockchain or NFTs. They can choose to if they want to. So Gunzilla Games is the studio behind the development of Off the Grid. So let's talk about the team and who the partners and VCs who are funding this project. If you take a deep dive and a deep look into the amount that's gone into this project and who funds it, it will actually give you a lot more confidence. So the team has 3 headquarters. The main headquarters is in Germany, the other one is in Ukraine, and then finally the last office is in Los Angeles. This is a big team. It's comprised of about 130 people. There's a lot of all-stars who are working on this team. So if you go through, you can actually read up on all of their individual bio, but I'll just take, for example, right over here, Neil Blomkamp. So if you just jump into here, you can see that Neil comes with a lot of experience, but he was actually also the director of District 9, and he also earlier in his career, he directed Halo, right? The film promoting Halo 3. So a lot of them come with a lot of experience. And if you take a look at the developer's experience, you could see that they have a lot of experience in the gaming industry. And some of them have worked for Ubisoft, EA, Blizzard, some of the biggest gaming companies out there. So one very important aspect of game development I always look at is who are the partners, the VCs who are funding this project? How much money do they have? And can they do the job? Because developing a AAA game is extremely hard and it's a very long process. And most studios run out of money and run out of steam before they even get out of the door. So if we take a look at their partners and who the VCs who are funding this project, we see some big names. So first off, Animoca Brands, right? That's the most recognizable name. For those of you who don't know, Animoca Brands is one of the biggest Web3 venture capitalists. They invest in everything, right? From Ori to Axie Infinity. If you just take a look through their list, they've invested in almost every game that's hit the market, and they are a part of a lot of projects within this space. So that's a big name. If you go back over here, you could see some other names as well. Griffin Gaming Partners, Jump Capital, Hubi Ventures, KuCoin, Digital Strategies. You have some really, really big funders. And then when I took a closer look, I actually saw the following. You could see that Gunzilla Games raises $46 million to redefine the Battle Royale genre. Now, if you take a deeper look, this was back in 2022. You could see that in 2020, right over here, November of 2020, they've actually raised $25 million. So it brings the total exceeding $71 million. So they actually have $71 million from all of their partners and VC firms that have invested in this game. So you could see that they come with a big war chest. But what's even more important is that the people behind this money. So take a look right over here. So if you take a look at this article, they actually talk about not only that $71 million, but they talk about the different partners who led the round, right? We talked about Griffin Gaming Partners, Animoca Brands, Jump Capital, and then the Angels investors, which includes one of the Twitch co-founder, Justin Kan. So you could see that if Justin Kan, one of the guys who founded Twitch, believes in this project, I think that this project has major potential. So let's talk about the gun token, which powers the Guns platform that Off the Grid is being developed on. So Off the Grid is being developed on AVAX, right? It's an AVAX subnet, and AVAX, as you know right now, is the leading blockchain for Web3 games. Many good games are being launched on AVAX. So this is the Guns platform for where Off the Grid will be developed. Now, they talk about what Guns is, okay? It's a first ever platform in a AAA that gives you the option to turn your items into tradable NFTs. So this is where they go into NFTs and their token. If you go down, you actually can see that they already have a game that's out there. It's called Technocore. So you can try this game on their Guns platform. But the main token, so if you go all the way down here to the token, the in-game currency you could see is the gun token. So this token has not launched yet. It's going to be launched, and there's a lot of speculation of when. Well, the question is, when will it launch? I think that it's going to launch in early 2024. So watch out in January, February for the gun token to hit the market. It's going to be a highly sought after project after SHRAPNEL exploded everything. And I think this game will probably be even better. There's actually more hype behind the game. There's a lot of funding, a big team behind the game, and also an amazing round of VCs. The other thing about the Guns token is that they talk about how you can earn it, like right over here. They say if you eliminate 5 enemies with a grenade, you earn 0.5 Guns token. And then here are the other ways to earn gun tokens, etc., etc. Okay, so the Guns token is something that most people, most investors, and then also the entire Web3 market is probably paying attention to. And if we just take a quick look right over here, you can see the Guns blockchain, right? Which is going to be built on AVAX, but this is probably just their testnet. You can see the different blocks and the different times, different transactions. And if you go right over here, you could see the Guns token right over here. You can actually see them testing it on the back end. Okay, so the gun token is going to be hitting the market soon. In terms of when, I do think that it's going to be early in January of 2024. So make sure that you watch out. Take a look at their Twitter, their X, their Discord, because they're going to make that big announcement. The other thing that I think is, how is the Guns token going to be launched? Well, I think that they're going to launch it through popular launch pads. So probably places like Seedify, and then big launch pads like Paid, which did very well during the previous cycle. It actually launched Star Atlas, and you remember that was a crazy launch, and I talked about Paid in one of my other videos. So watch out for the launch pads as well, because that's another way for us to get into that initial IDO. Okay guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope that you learned something about Off the Grid and the Guns token and how this is one of the most highly anticipated projects. So if you like what you heard and you like more content like this, please give the video a like and consider subscribing towards my channel, and I will see you next time.